What up, guys? Welcome back to the Rogue Deck Reviews. This is Kool-Aid from Base Damage. Bringing to you this week another video by Kojiro Hirogumi. Kojiro's on WSDecks.com. Check out his decks. Links in the description, as always. This is a blue-yellow build called Aircraft Survival Tactics, and it took me a second to get the name once I started going through the cards, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. This is really actually a very interesting little concept for this deck. I always like how he names his the different decks that he names. Is always, it's relevant to how the deck runs or some way, shape, or form. But getting right into this, the level zeros we have are Maikaze, which is an overpowered 3500 beat stick, but you top check. If it's not a Fleet Girl, that card gets sent to the clock. That's minimal. You got Poi, shoutouts to Joe Schmo. She can get big depending on how many characters your opponent has when you play her, and then she has an ability when she gets frontal attacked, which I thought this was really nice. You can send her to the waiting room to summon the Yudaichi Kaini from your hand in that same spot, to which that actually triggers her effect, which we'll get to in a bit. But that's a really interesting change. Just if she gets frontaled, do that for no other cost. I thought was just really cool. Then we have Takitsukaze. This is not Takitsu. I'm sorry, that's Takitsukaze. Yukikaze. Just a character encore, but really good for 2500 beat stick. Takitsukaze is the brainstormer of the deck. It's spammable. You mill 4 for every Fleet Girl. Bleh. For every climax you send, I'll get my words straight in a second. For every climax that you mill off for this effect, you search your deck for a Fleet Girl and then discard 1 card. So really cool. Really useful just to be able to get the fact that it's spammable makes this very, very effective. The other big thing is every deck needs a brainstormer in some way, shape, or form, because if you know that you've already gone through a whole bunch of your climaxes, you could pay out your stock to get climaxes out of stock, which is really effective, and then just be able to go through the deck quicker. Just get closer to that refresh so you know your climaxes are refreshed back in, which is really fun. When you know that you're going back in refresh with 8 climaxes. So, yeah. Next is Murasame Kai, which is really useful. I run like at least 3 copies of this card in my personal Kantai deck. She gets a buff when you play a climax. That's kind of minimal, but the main effect that you go for is when she swings, you can pay 1, discard a card, and search your deck for a Fleet Girl. 2 copies of her. Harusame is a 500 assist in front, and when she gets played, you can discard a card to add the level 1 event Drum Barrels, or Transport Drum, or something like that. I know it's a level 1 event. From your waiting room back to your hand. Really useful, and it gives a slight Winter Moment Akatsuki-esque effect. Overall, after you both play her and then play the Drum Barrel, you essentially do the same effect. But you discard any card and add back Drum Barrel. Really good, and the 500 assist always helps. So you got that's your level zeros. Level 1 goes into we'll just start with Yudaichi first because of the change. When she's placed on your stage from your hand, which counts when you use her change effect off of the level 0, she gets 1500 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Now the way that that's worded, if you do this on your opponent's turn, it says your opponent's next turn. So my understanding, 1, she has that buff for that turn, and she should retain it coming back around to your turn and then your opponent's following turn. The way that that's worded, I want to say that's how that would work. I'm uncertain if that is the exact way that would work, but if it does, that actually means she stays big for a long while. Even later in the game, just being able to do that on just playing her on your turn, being able to just retain that buff for at least a whole turn for your opponents is really good. Make it so your opponent probably has to waste resources to try to kill her. But then going back to the beginning of the level 1s, you have Yukikaze. Turn she gets played, she gets 1500 power. So only bringing her up to a 55, but her secondary ability is where it's at. When she becomes reversed, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a Fleet Girl, you can pay 1 stock to return her to your hand, essentially letting you attack with her multiple times over and over. As long as you reveal that Fleet Girl, you only have to pay 1 to send her back to hand to reuse her, use her as clock fodder, whatever you want to do at that point. But this is very useful in maintaining hand and board and just being able to continuously get back your character over and over and over. So I like her. Really, really good. One of the next cards that I really like out of this deck and out of this set in general, Goya. This is such a powerful combination that, one, you'll actually see a lot in the regular yellow-green con type builds for the meta, as far as the meta Koei, some people call it. When she side attacks, she gets +1 soul, but her shining ability is the fact that she can change very early by only paying 2 stock. Being able to change into her level 2 form from the waiting room. So we'll get to that in a bit, but that's what you run her for, is to get this Goya Kaini out. I say Kaini, but it's just this version 2 of Goya out. Then you have Taige. She actually has she has 2 abilities. You can tap her to give a Fleet Girl 1500 power until end of turn, which is always good. And then she can change. Also, this is just a lot of change abilities, but this is really, really good for change abilities. If your level is 2 or higher, you can pay 1 and put her into your waiting room and be able to play her level 2 version back to the stage where she was. So basically, it just lets you change out of that to the field relatively easily. Just until then, you use her for buffing. But then once you reach level 2, you can summon her out, and she is she has really good effects as well. She is one of the climax combos of the deck as well. So we'll get to that in a bit. Actually, we'll get to it now because now we're in level 2s. Okay, but Goya, we have, if the number of your other Fleet Girl characters is 2 or more, she gets +1 soul and character encore. This is such a useful ability. She essentially stays at having 2 soul, which early on is going to help you push for damage a lot, considering that's normally what level 3s have, is 2 soul. So this is so beautiful that can come out at level 1, and then the character encore on top of that. She's not leaving anytime soon. I'm just saying. Speaking of giving character encore, Soryu, this is a really useful ability. All of your other Fleet Girl characters get 500 power and character encore. This is a global. This is anywhere on the field. So at any point in time, as long as she's on the field, your other Fleet Girls can continuously be character encored back. This is an amazing ability. Only 1, but I mean it's perfectly fine. If you get this out, you're golden. Junyo Kai, she gets a buff on your turn, 500 for each of your other Fleet Girls, and then she has Clock Encore. Really good for being able to just punch through and then still stay on the board for a good bit. Backups, we got Zuikaku Kai. When you use her backup, you put the top card of your deck into your waiting room, and if it's a climax, choose a character in battle. That character gets -1 soul until end of turn. To me, that's more of she's a 2500 backup. It's more of the way you should look at that effect is when you use it, you mill 1, you hope that it's not a climax, thus forth digging you closer to a climax. But it gives you that extra little effect where if you do happen to mill a climax, you can get at least something off of it. A lot of people just go, "Oh, that's a horrible ability." No, you're either digging closer to a climax, but if you happen to do so anyway, right at the beginning, it gives you kind of a reprieve and a little bit less soul damage to worry about, which is really nice. I got a fly in here and it just keeps bothering me. But the Ryoho, going to her, she's a level assist. She's a 500 level assist in front, and when she's the first climax combo of the deck. When a card named Don't Look Down on Us remodeled aircraft carriers is placed, you can pay 1, and if you do, you can choose one of your characters. That character gets the ability until end of turn. When this card when that card becomes reversed, if the level, it basically turns them into a kind of a reverser. Think of how like level 0s have the 0 reversers, the stop bombs, the clock bombs. This would let you ram your characters that already have stuff like character encore, clock encore, into other characters. And if the level of that card is lower than or equal to the level of that card, of the card that you're swinging with, you can put that character on the bottom of your opponent's deck. Normally that's not too much of a good thing, but people wouldn't really look at that in a good light other than, oh, well, we get some removal. But the fact that you have stuff that does stay on the field for such a long amount of time and just can just continuously over and over and over come back, get reused. That's where it comes into play, is the fact of, okay, well, I'm going to swing with this Goya. I'm going to attempt to do 2 damage to you regardless. 1, that's really, really good. She's a little bit bigger, but in case they're playing stuff that is just way too big for you to handle, you can do that and then swoop their character on, once yours gets reversed, swoop their character on the bottom of the deck, and then just encore yours at the when encore phase comes around. Just bring it back. It does not matter. It's very easy. So I really like how that's set up, even climax combo wise, especially when you come into her with Soryu Kaini. She constantly has a -1 soul, giving -1 soul to the character facing her. That gets even bigger in a bit, though. When she's placed on stage from hand, you look it up to look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top or bottom. That's whatever. But she's the next climax combo of the deck. When she attacks, until the end of your opponent, if the climax is there, until the end of your opponent's next turn, she gets 2,000 power and an additional -1 soul to the character facing her, stacking it up to being a -2 soul, and your opponent having that much more of a difficult time trying to kill you. I really like that there's 4 of this in here, and I really like this card. Ever since the second set dropped, I really have liked how this card works, and would have loved to have made a deck around it, but here, I can show you in this video. This is a very, very fun card, and making it so that this even sticks even more to the survival tactics part of this deck name. And that is, drop 3 of her, do this combo, all of their characters are getting -2 soul when they try to swing at her, or they try to swing at any of her. They're not even going to do normal damage. Even with like climax combos, they're going to have to really, really try to hope for triggers and just being able to get over that. But then again, that doesn't even matter when you can just encore them back over and over, and that's really useful. But yeah, just 4 of that straight up, and that's a really cool climax combo. The Drum Barrel event, it's a level 1 costless event. You look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, add a Fleet Girl from amongst them to your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. That is a very powerful effect. If anyone does not know like how useful Winter Moment Akatsuki alone is, that it's a very powerful effect, and that's a very useful card. I like the number for it as well. Just 3 is perfectly fine. The remodeled aircraft carriers is attack force head out. This is the Soryu Kaini climax combo. It's a 1k1 book trigger, so draw. And this is the Ryoho climax combo, or climax for the combo. You blue stock from waiting room and +1 soul. So this, because it gives you a soul, it gives you a stock, it pays for itself when you use her ability. So it's as if you're giving them the reverse ability for free. So really fun and just really, really good card. I really appreciated looking through this and just seeing how everything just matches together and flows so well. Kojiros, you definitely get an A+ from me on this one. I really like this deck. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, comment any topics you want to see, deck profiles you want to see, comment or send us links for your own decks on WSDecks.com, and we will check it out and review it, and it'll probably get turned into a video. Thank you all for watching, and we hope you all have an awesome day. Peace out for now.